Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We are the Serious Film Critics, and we're back. My name is Sam.
And I'm David.
All right, everybody. I know we've been on a little bit of hiatus. We've discovered a lot of things about ourselves, primarily amongst those that we need to do this show again. So get ready, because we're coming back at you, and we're going to be back in full force. Good to have you back, Dave.
Good to have you back, Sam. It's been a while.
It's been a while. How have you been doing, man?
Pretty good. I've mostly been on this journey of enlightenment to become a better film critic, and I feel like I'm finally where I need to be.
I agree. I've been doing the same thing. A lot of time just spent meditating and studying and just watching film, and I think we're back and better than ever.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
All right. Well, we got an excellent show for you guys. This is going to be a really exciting one. We're going to be reviewing Alien Covenant, the new Ridley Scott feature. We are also going to be touching on a lot of the various Alien movies that have been released over the years, as long as some rumors that go along with it. We're going to talk about our top 5 movies for the rest of 2017. And to kick things off, we're going to go over some trailers that have been recently released. So let's just jump into this thing, because we got a lot to cover today. So, all right, Dave, what's our first trailer we're going to be talking about?
I guess we'll get into Dunkirk first, the Christopher Nolan film about,
yes.
First of all, Dunkirk, I'm pretty sure, is in World War II, was a mass evacuation of British troops and equipment and stuff.
Yeah.
What was it, from France to England?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and basically it was one of the biggest evacuations of all time. In fact, I think there's this whole theory that Hitler almost let them kind of get away with it.
Oh, wow,
Just because
really?
apparently Hitler kind of had a soft spot for the British because they were master race Aryans. I don't know if this is true. This is what I think I've heard.
Hey, some interesting speculation.
Yeah. Maybe I'm totally off base with this. But yeah, that's what the movie's about, this massive evacuation.
And I guess based on the trailers, it's just normal citizens or something.
Yeah, they actually had to
save the day.
Yeah, they actually had to have normal people take their boats down there and pick up troops because they just had to get 400,000 troops out or something.
Yeah. There was a lot of mystery surrounding this movie. I remember the first trailer that was released was literally just, I don't think it showed anything.
It was just the guys were on the boat and they were looking up and starting to panic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
There's a lot of build up around this. So what do you think finally we got a full length trailer. So what do you think?
First of all, I think the mystery aspect is kind of funny because it's people that know World War II would probably know that this was a success, spoiling the movie.
Spoiler
They managed, and I think if, the whole idea was that if they had gotten crippled there, that was it for Britain. They were done for. So I think the visuals look really good. I mean, Christopher Nolan, usually his movies suck, but the cinematography is always really well done.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it looks better than ever here. I'm going to be honest, I actually want to see this. I think it looks good.
I want to see it too. I think the visuals look interesting. I don't know what it is. None of those characters in the trailer are gripping me.
No, not at all.
I have no desire. I don't know what it is. Characters in Christopher Nolan's movies just never really interest me that much, or at least very seldomly. I mean,
it seems like they're not very interesting characters. I don't think he does characters very well.
I don't think so either. I think a lot of his dialogue is really preachy a lot of the time. But so the characters don't particularly interest me in this. I do think the visuals look awesome. I will give it that. So. We'll definitely be reviewing that at some point. But,
yeah, we're going to be on that.
I'm on board, but I can't say I'm super excited about it because I'm always a little skeptical when Nolan puts something out.
Yeah, it's going to be long. It's going to be preachy.
Oh, it's going to be preachy.
It looks like the whole movie is going to be about the cruelties and horrors of war and how these are just a bunch of scared people, which is, fine.
Yeah.
A lot of
and wasn't one of the characters reenacting the speech by Churchill?
Yeah.
So, I wonder how that's going to be. But
yeah.
All right, so the next trailer we're going to be talking about here is The Mummy, which is coming a little bit later this year, starring Tom Cruise. Yeah. I guess, does this have anything to do with the Brendan Fraser one, or is this literally just...
I think it's just a reboot.
Okay, so they're just rebooting it entirely.
Universal is doing a whole Movie Monsters universe. Apparently, they even tried to do this before with The Mummy and Van Helsing were tied together somehow.
Oh, really?
So they were going to do this before.
Do you mean the Van Helsing one with Hugh Jackman?
Yeah. Supposedly, this is what my brother told me, but I should have Googled it. But I believe it. They were going to do it originally, and obviously it wasn't going to work because they were just making bad movies. Because, they had the Mummy universe had a lot of movies made. I think it was 4 or 5.
It definitely had a lot of them.
Anyway, so I saw this trailer in theaters. I don't know if it's the same one you saw where they were the first scene is just them shooting at something.
Oh, I think I saw the first one. Because the first one I saw, they were on the plane or whatever, and it's kind of this extended shot of them flying the plane, then it crashes.
The theatrical trailer was different. I think it showed a little more. It literally opens, they're in the Middle East, just it's a gunfight. Instantly, they're just it's a crew of mercs led by Tom Cruise are shooting at somebody. He runs, they find the mummy. And then they like excavate and they're like, there's like this voiceover saying, "Don't mess with this chick."
Yeah.
And then it shows like this flashback where like she killed the emperor or whatever,
Yeah.
and like took his power, and then they like mummified her alive and buried her alive.
Okay.
And then
sucks for her.
yeah, after the plane apparently crashes and they all die, and then Tom Cruise like comes back to life because I guess the mummy has chosen him. And
yeah,
then,
I saw that in the trailer. I was like, is Tom Cruise the mummy or like what's going on?
I guess
there?
he's been chosen and he's gonna fight. And then the rest of the trailer is just him fight. The mummy's a chick now, and he's like fighting her, and he's got a love interest. And so, what do you think overall?
I'm not really on board for this one. I mean, I'll probably check it out, but see, I'm actually a loyalist to the Brendan Fraser one. I love that first Mummy. Like that's just one of those movies I could pop that thing on.
It's so much fun to watch.
It is so much fun to watch, and it's got like a little bit of the horror element in there. It's got the action, like. I mean, that has to be the pinnacle of Brendan Fraser's career. Like, I can't think of like,
yeah, without a doubt.
It really is. Like
he I mean, he gave a good performance in that film.
Did.
That's a good film.
It's a good movie. Yeah, it's excellent. And The Mummy is memorable, and it's just Rachel Weisz. You don't see her much anymore, but she was great in it. So I guess this one, I don't know. I'm also not a huge Tom Cruise fan, so that kind of turns me off a little bit. The visuals I thought actually looked pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That is one thing that I will say intrigues me and will probably get me to the movies to see it, but I don't know. I'm just not digging the story. It looks a little too action oriented for me. I also like my mummy. Like I don't know. Like she looks a little too human for me. Like I like the mummy when he looks a little more. Either cover him in bandages or give him like weird. Look like he's decayed. Like I like that aesthetic a lot better than how they showed it in this one.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's how she ends up looking by the end of the film.
Yeah,
she like starts falling apart.
Yeah, but so I'm not super sold on it. I will say the visuals look a lot better than I thought they would, though. I thought it was going to be pretty cheesy looking, but
no, I think Tom Cruise, to his benefit, he doesn't really do bad movies.
Yeah,
so he wouldn't probably go into
That's
this if
true.
it was going to be cheesy and bad. Plus, with Tom Cruise, you pay all that money, you're going to pay out the butthole for the film.
Well, one thing I hope it has though is humor. I don't know. The trailer looked a little bit too serious for me.
The theatrical trailer, I think, had a couple of jokes.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, when it first came on, I thought it was for Mission Impossible. Exactly like a Mission Impossible.
It really does. Like I could totally say. I mean, it looks like Mission Impossible with a mummy. Thrown in there. So. Are you on board for this one, or what?
I am. I'm really excited to see what they do with this movie monster universe. First of all, if this movie tanks, that's it. They're probably putting a cork in it. But I would be interested to see because it's like I guess they have a lot of stuff. They got like Wolfman, Frankenstein.
So who else is there? Wolfman, Frankenstein. I guess. Do you think they'll do another Dracula?
Yeah, they could do Dracula. They would have to because
I guess so.
They did Van Helsing. He'd probably be around. They have. I think they have Swamp Thing, like the other Swamp Thing, like the horror movie one.
Oh, is that like was he called Swamp Thing, or was he just like the lagoon monster?
Oh yeah, that Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah, or I don't know what they. Because Swamp Thing is isn't he like a
DC.
superhero or
He's
something?
DC.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about.
No, I know exactly what you meant.
Yeah, but they have a lot. Universal did all of those old monster films, and they can bring a lot back. Yeah, Dracula would be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I'm excited to see where that goes, mostly.
Yeah, I'd be down for some more monster movies. I just, again, didn't look like there was much horror in this one either. I like, even though obviously the Brendan Fraser one was not a horror movie,
not
but
at all.
At least they had some elements of that throughout. This one just looked a little bit too much like an action movie for me. But,
oh, yeah.
If the action's cool, visuals are good, I'll definitely check it out, but I'm not, I don't know. I'm still a Brendan Fraser mummy loyalist, so
I'm going to say that that's a classic that will always be a classic, and this is just something different, and I'm on board with it. I like Tom Cruise a little bit.
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes.
All right, next trailer we're going to be talking about is War of the Planet of the Apes. I literally just watched this thing on my phone about 5 minutes ago, so I
want to hear what you think
fresh
of it
in my
first.
mind. I'm kind of out on this one too. I think I'm all aped out. But I also didn't see Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I thought that one, not having seen, did you see that one?
Was that the one with James Franco, the first one?
No, that was the first one.
I didn't see the... Well,
oh wait, what was the?
I think that Dawn was with.
Oh, Dawn was was that
James
the first?
Franco.
Was that
with James?
Rise of the Planet of the Apes?
Rise was, I think, the second one. I saw that one.
Did you?
Yeah, I saw the one where they're like, it's like after the plague or whatever. I think Dawn is with James Franco, and I didn't.
Okay,
see
I've seen the James Franco one.
Yeah, I saw the second one and not the James Franco one.
Okay, well, I thought the second movie was about like the war for the Planet of the Apes. So what happens in that one? Like
that's the thing. It kind of is. That's what's stupid. It's like the second one. It's like all different characters, and it's like there's humans. Like they have like a settlement, a pretty big one.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember what happens, basically one of the apes can talk, but most of them can't yet. And I guess in the new one, they
whatever.
can, they can all talk in the new one, it looks like. And I can't remember why they go to war. I think that like some of the apes, there's like an internal conflict. Some of them want to kill the humans and the others don't. And like some of them attack and the humans retaliate and they have this big fight. I mean, and then some of the humans like talk with Caesar and he's like, I'm sorry, this is how it has to be. So basically, it looks just like the third one. They have a big fight, and then the humans...
like that. That's what I thought. I didn't see it, but I was under the impression the second movie was like kind of the battle between humans and apes.
It was.
And this one just kind of looks like more of that. But I enjoyed the first one. See, I think I liked seeing the transition between Caesar and the monkeys in general going from just being monkeys to being self-aware and things like that. That was interesting to me. I'm not as interested in the humans versus monkeys fight. Like, it doesn't do it for me, especially since I know how the story turns out.
That's my biggest problem with this one is, like, I think in the second one, I can't remember how it ends, but I think the humans pretty much get fucked in the end. But it's like, that's what is going to happen in this one, too. And it kind of pisses me off seeing, like, that Apache fucking... How are they going to get that thing down?
Yeah.
Like, there's a helicopter. Like, what are they going to do?
I mean, that's the thing. These monkeys are riding around like horses and stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
some of them can use guns, but most of them just have, like, spears and shit. Like, they would not win this fight,
that's
ever.
the thing is, like, the monkeys are obviously superior strength-wise to humans, but we already have all this technology, like, already built, ready to go. We have tanks.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if it's a silverback gorilla. The tank is taking that thing down.
And I'm sure they're going to have, like, I mean, it was how it was in the second one, too. They're going to have some really stupid, convoluted ways of, like, taking the helicopter out. Like, they're probably going to, like, jump on the chopper.
Dude, it's probably going to be like the Ewoks from, like, Return of the Jedi. They're going to be, like, using nature to, like, they're going to be, like, picking up trees and, like, throwing them at helicopters to, like, mess up the propellers and stuff.
Really, mainly, though, it's, like, what's bothers me about watching it, and this was the second one, and even the first one, it's, like, there's nothing at stake, because you know how it ends. They lose.
Yeah.
Obviously, unless they, like, I guess... There are multiple original Planet of the Apes movies, and don't the humans go underground or something?
I'm not sure. I think so.
I think that there's a couple of them.
I've actually only seen the original first one with Charlton Heston.
But I think that there's like a beneath the Planet of the Apes or something.
Yeah,
and I think there are like humans down there. So maybe if they did something like that where like the humans like aren't just defeated and then we move on to the next one. Maybe if like, But it's just like, really, what's the point? We know where this is headed.
That's how I feel about it. Like, it looks like the whole movie is just an extended battle sequence, and it's like, okay, that you know the outcome already. So it's kind of like, I'm not too keen on it. I like the first one. The first one was really good. You should check it out.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to see how the relationship between Caesar and James Franco throughout the movie is really strong, and especially like at the end of the movie, it's like Caesar is self-aware. He's already pretty intelligent. He's talking a bit, and it's having to leave James Franco behind. There are actually emotional stakes in that movie. Like, and then I don't know why, but James Franco, do they address his character all in the second movie?
No. It's like a totally new group of characters.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I don't know. I've been out since the first one.
Yeah.
So.
I watched the second one on a plane. And it was like,
oh, really?
I don't know why I'm watching
so
this.
you not feeling this new one either?
No.
Yeah.
Not really. Like mostly because I know how it ends. There's the second one. I knew how it ends. It's like, they're just going to basically do these big, I bet they'll do another war movie after this. I would not be surprised. Like the final war for the Planet of the Apes or something.
Sure. There's just going to be multiple more war movies with this. Like, they're probably going to go into space at some point.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not too keen on it. So we're out on that one. All right, last trailer we're going to be talking about is Blade Runner 2049. Now, this one is directed by Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah,
I believe that's how you pronounce it. He did Sicario and Arrival. Did you see Arrival?
I didn't. The only film I've seen of his was Prisoners. He did.
I didn't see Prisoners.
I saw that one.
Was
That's
it good?
It's good.
Yeah. See, I've seen Arrival and Sicario. I love Sicario is really good. You should check that out. Arrival, I thought was a little overrated.
Yeah, that movie got
crazy
an
about
absurd amount of hype.
It really did. The hype, I don't think it lived up to the hype. But anyway, I'm in for this.
Oh,
though.
yeah.
This will factor in later. This may show up on my top 5 of the year remaining in the year, but the visuals in this look incredible, I think.
I mean, I think that this could easily be Best Picture. I mean,
I think it could too, absolutely.
It looks amazing. It looks like it's going to easily live up to the first one, which is a tall task because it's another Ridley Scott film, the first one.
Yeah, that's another Ridley Scott film tying it in. I actually wasn't a huge fan of Blade Runner the first time I watched it. It took me I like it a lot now, but I also watched it in high school, so I didn't have the same sensibilities now, but I just thought it was really slow, and I liked the atmospheric, Blade Runner has such a mood about it. It just puts you in a mood. It like takes you, which is really hard to do, and I totally respect that. But when I first saw it, I was just kind of like, I don't know if I'm in on this. But after a couple more viewings, and especially when I got older, like it's a really, really great movie.
Yeah.
Like he really creates like a totally different, believable world there. That and the visuals are just, they're not only good, they transcend. I almost feel like they're transcendent. Like it creates something. It's like another world.
Yeah,
you know?
like you literally don't feel like you're on Earth at all.
No, you really don't. Or you feel like you're on this alternate, version of Earth and however many years in the future. And for 1982,
I know,
God,
exactly.
those visuals still hold up today.
Yeah.
By all accounts.
It's the same thing with the original Alien. Like he just managed to do it so well.
Yeah. And just that Rutger Hauer speech at the end about, oh my God, it's so good. It's just
so good. That's legendary.
It really is. But I'm in for this new one.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
I'm also like, Gosling is quickly climbing my top actors list. Like, I'm all in for that guy. Like I could just watch him. I love him in these parts where he's just, minimal dialogue. He's just
yeah, I know, like Drive.
I could just Drive is one of my all-time favorite movies. I'm glad you showed me that one. But like I could just watch him like stare off into space like endlessly.
He definitely's got the brood.
He's got the brood, and it just fits this movie perfectly. What do you think about Harrison Ford? Do you think he's going to be all in on this one, like Star Wars, or?
I think he's going to be way more in on this than Star Wars. Obviously, Star Wars, he was not all in on it because he wanted out.
Well, yeah, but he was good in Force Awakens.
He gave a good performance.
Yeah,
I don't think he's.
That's what I mean. Like he actually tried. Like I was worried in Force Awakens he was just going to phone it in. Like
I don't think he really.
Crystal Skull. Like
he does that too much. Well, he doesn't make movies really.
Yeah,
anymore,
he doesn't make.
I don't think he's going to do that. Definitely not with this. But I don't think that's like his MMO. To be honest, he doesn't really seem to phone it in.
Yeah, maybe it's just I just feel like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was really bad.
Yeah, that was just a bad movie.
Just a bad movie all around. But I'm in for this one. I don't know, not too much else to say.
I mean,
I like how they didn't give too much away in the trailer either.
I really thought that very opening scene with Jared Leto, and he's like, I can only make so many.
Yeah.
I'm sure that it's going to have something to do with like the replicants are either they're going to like have an uprising, or like there's probably some weird way they have to make them, and they're like they can't make anymore, literally. Yeah. So that probably is going to have something to do with the plot. I bet his character is going to be really good. Just his one line looked really good.
Yeah, it really did. And he's happy birthday.
Yeah,
and he's just petting that disturbing looking android.
Yeah, that looked really good.
Yeah, so I am definitely all in for that movie. And we might touch on that later. So, alrighty, that covers trailers. Any other news going on? I don't think too much else is happening in the.
I mean, right now, summer movie season's starting, so all these trailers are popping out. Yeah, I mean,
Roger Moore just died. I know you're not a huge Bond guy, but that actually happened today. Yeah.
Oh wow, I did not hear that.
Yeah, that just happened today.
Holy cow!
I think he was like 90 or 89 or something.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's kind of sad. I was. He wasn't my favorite Bond, but he was pretty solid. Anyway, all right, rest in peace, Roger Moore. So let's move on. We're moving into our main review, and we are talking Alien Covenant, directed by Ridley Scott himself. So, Dave, you want to take it away?
All right. So just before I get off, I talked about it sometimes. This is a movie I would definitely recommend seeing in theaters again.
Absolutely.
I'm really glad I saw it in theaters. So it's basically... how should I start off with this? It opens with there's a ship. It's a Covenant. It's called the Covenant, and it's a colonization ship. Yeah, and it's like it opens with a prologue, and it's Peter Weyland again, and he's talking to David. I guess the original David from Prometheus.
Yeah,
and they have this conversation about creation and God. That's the major theme of this film. Mm-hmm. And he's like, we're gonna find our creators together, and they did in Prometheus.
Yeah,
and he.
Oh, they did.
It was a bad idea. So then it opens with they're on the Covenant, and it's a colonization ship, and there's a guy who looks like David. You find out his name is Walter. So he's like a newer version of him, and he's like taking care of the ship. It's like they're 7 years away from their planet destination. He puts these sails out to like absorb energy, and basically there's a neutrino burst which fucks the sails up, overloads the system. He has to like awake the crew up really quick because they're in stasis. And this was one scene that kind of bothered me. One of the stasis pods like catches on fire.
Yeah.
And the captain is in it. It's James Franco playing the captain, and he burns alive. And the whole idea that this pod is capable of like burning someone alive inside of it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. That technology does not seem safe at all. Like, I guess the systems get overloaded by like all the energy from the burst, but it's like the fact that could like literally cause the pod to catch on fire.
Like, surely they had to know that can happen. Like, this technology, I guess, has been Prometheus was set in like 2091, I believe.
Yeah, this is like 2105 or something.
Yeah, 2105, I think. So clearly this technology has been around for a while, and they don't mention any concern about that in Prometheus, and that's lesser technology. So this would not be the same. I would be terrified.
I know, I would never. I mean, that's a plot point. They do not want to get back in those pods.
No.
But I mean, come on, like that pod was not safe.
Not at all.
I don't think we'd be capable of something making something so unsafe today.
No, definitely not. I think they really just kind of went for that because of the cool visual of it and the fact that it's like, ooh, this is James Franco. Like,
yeah, he's not in the movie.
He's not in the movie, but he kind of is. Like,
yeah. So the captain died. I mean, this is a major plot point. They lose a couple colonists. It turns out there's 2,000 colonists and a bunch of embryos for the second generation. So they wake the crew up. It's 15 people. I guess now down to 14 because Franco's a...
One quick thing I need clarified. So are there 2,000 people on that ship? So they're actual people.
There's like 2,000 people and 1,000 embryos. Yeah, there's 2,000 people in the stasis pods because you can see them.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. That's what I was wondering about. I didn't know if it was all embryos or if they actually had people aboard the ship. Okay.
So he wakes the crew up. Turns out they're like pretty much all like husband and wife, which I can understand, but I also think was a stupid idea because then if somebody dies.
Yeah.
So Franco's wife, whose name is Danny, she's very broken up, obviously. And then this guy, I forgot, none of the names in this movie matter at all. I only remember one name.
We'll play a little game later where we try to name the crew members.
Oh my God.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. There's 15 crew and like, I don't want to get into it too much right now. Hold on. So yeah, Billy Crudup, he takes over as captain, and like the whole point with this character is first he's religious, which I guess plays into the whole theme of creation. Yeah. And he's not ready to be captain. The crew doesn't really seem to like trust him that much. So they wake up, he becomes the captain. He tells them, we need to get to fixing this shit right now because, obviously, because the sails are still out and they need to be retracted. Right. So he tells them there's not going to be any kind of like thing done for the other captain, just screw it. So, but then they go behind his back and just like, they like drink shots for him.
Yeah.
And then they launch
Jack Daniels or whatever it was.
Yeah. And then they launch his body out into space and he gets mad. He's like, well, they don't trust me. This doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that they don't trust him. No. So they do that. And then, what's his name?
Walter?
No, not Walter. What's the Tennessee? What's the actor's
Danny
name?
McBride.
Yeah, Danny McBride playing. I actually thought he did pretty good in this.
I liked him too.
Danny McBride plays a guy named Tennessee. He's a pilot. He goes out along with another guy. I don't know his name. They go out to fix the sails, and while they're out fixing the sails, they fix them, and then Tennessee gets a rogue transmission, and he can't figure out what it is. He can't hear what it is. It's just like some video and some noise. He comes back in. They decrypt the transmission, and it turns out it's like that song "Country Roads Take Me Home" by John Denver. Yeah. It's coming from like a nearby system. They track the fucking signal to a planet, which turns out it's very close, and it's like perfectly inhabitable, like even better than the planet. Because they're heading to a planet called Origai 6, which is literally 7 years away. And this planet's like 2 weeks away, and it's like even better. So like,
did we ever get the name of this planet?
I think we do, but I don't remember what it is.
I don't know that we did. I was really curious to see what the name was. I don't know if they give it to us or not. But
yeah.
Anyway.
So the captain Billy Crudup is like, all right, well, we should go check this out. And Danny, the only smart person on the ship, is like, nah. Don't you think this is a little? True. Don't you think this is a little too good to be true? Like the perfect planet, and there's a fucking song "Country Road Take Me Home" playing. Like it's obviously a trap, and it is. I mean, and she knows, but he's like, well, and I mean, I guess it makes sense. Like, do you really want to get in the pods again? And yeah, nobody wants to get in the pods again.
Understandably.
Because you could fucking be cooked alive in your sleep.
Yeah. So
they decide to go check the planet out. They get there, and it turns out there's like ion storms and hurricanes, really bad weather. So they send like the majority of the crew out on a ship. Tennessee and then 2 other people stay on board.
Some other guys.
One of them might have been Rix. Somebody's name was Rix, I think.
Rix?
I think.
It's the first I've ever heard. We'll look these characters. I want to look these character names up after we're done with it.
So they send the majority of the crew out down to the ship. They have to pilot. It's a really rough landing. They land, and it's like a bunch of mountains and a river. They land on the water, and they go out, and they're like, all right, we're going to track the source of this transmission. So the pilot of the dropship stays behind, and then the captain's wife, Billy Crudup's wife, goes along with one of the... They do have guns. They have a lot of guys with guns. They have like a security team.
Yep.
So they all get out, and they decide to track down the source of the transmission, but Billy Crudup's wife is going to stay by and start doing like a... ecology samples, like, I guess to test. So she stays with one guy while the rest of them start heading towards the source of the transmission, which is like on top of this big mountain. So then they're heading into the woods. They see like the mountain was like sheared off by something. And they're like, all right, well, it's up here. So they keep heading out. So then we go back to the wife. I guess she's like an ecologist, and the guy that's with her, he's part of the security team. And we see like these little black spores go into his ear. So they infect him with something. We're not sure what it is yet. So then it cuts back to the team. They're going through. I don't remember if there's like anything. I guess there's like a lot of banter between like the whole. Oh yeah, another plot point is that the signal is really weak.
Yeah,
they can't really communicate with the ship, the Covenant. So then it goes back, and the guy starts getting really sick. The one that got infected by the spores.
Yeah, it's a quick transition.
Yeah, it takes very, very quick. He starts getting sicker. She's like, all right, we need to go back to the ship. And she tells the captain or the pilot to get the med bay ready. We'll get to this pilot in a minute because I had a lot of problems with her.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you know what I'm talking about. So she starts bringing him back. He starts getting really sick and she starts panicking. Like, all right, we need to run. So she's running back with him. She's telling the pilot, like, get the med bay ready, get the med bay ready. The pilot instantly loses her fucking shit.
Yeah.
I mean, cannot respond well to a crisis in any way. She's like, oh my God.
She should not have been awake for this shit. Yeah. She should have been one of the colonists sleeping
She
in the
was
pod.
not prepared to handle
She was
up.
not ready for any situation with any adversity whatsoever.
She starts panicking. She's like, get your gloves. I mean, she's afraid it's like an alien infection. They tell the ship they can barely hear what's going on. So they take him into the med bay and she starts trying to treat him. And he starts like, he looks like he's getting ready to fucking explode. Like blood starts popping out of his back. He bleeds on the pilot a little bit. She starts really fucking losing her shit now. So she locks them into the med bay.
Yeah.
With the wife. So the wife is like trying to help him and she's like, don't lock me in here, let me out. And then the captain at this point is basically like hysterical. She's telling the ship that some shit's hitting the fan.
Yeah.
Even though really it shouldn't have been hitting the fan at this point because like the guy was sick and obviously about to die, but it was like they shouldn't have been acting like, they were all about to get like that was it.
Yeah.
They're acting like all is lost.
Yeah, everything's done.
So the guy like starts exploding. She comes back. The wife's like, you need to let me out of here. She's like, no, I can't. And then the guy like basically it's a chest burster pops out of him. That attacks Billy Crudup's wife. So the pilot runs back, gets a shotgun, and opens the door, starts shooting at it, keeps missing, drops the gun, runs out, gets another fucking gun, starts shooting at it wildly, missing, pretty much hitting everything in the ship but the alien. But the alien. So then the alien starts mauling Billy Crudup's wife, and you almost think she might have a chance of surviving, but no, she's dead.
Yeah, she's done.
She's dead. That's first one down.
The alien is also rapidly growing.
Yeah, it's getting
growing like by the minute.
Yeah,
like it's getting bigger.
So then the pilot keeps shooting. She shoots a thing. It causes the ship to catch on fire, and then finally we cut back to Billy Crudup and his team, and they're getting back because that's his wife. So he's really starting to panic.
And Billy Crudup's team also uncovered the alien ship.
Oh yeah. They saw the crash. Oh yeah. That was one thing. They got to the alien ship, which was crashed, and they actually find the transmission on there. And then one of those guys gets infected too through his nose. Yeah. So they finally get back, and just as they're getting back, the whole dropship explodes. Yeah.
And homeboy gets who was with Billy Crudup's team, his chest burster starts happening too.
So his fucking chest burster pops out. They try to hold him down. So that thing pops out and then attacks the team. So then they're like, I guess they have to decide they have to go back to where they were, the transmission.
Yeah.
But anyway, so then at
this point they have no ship.
Yeah.
The alien is running, like the new alien is running around.
Yes. So they fight that alien. They don't get it. I think it kills somebody. I can't remember if it does. Actually, like Walter actually manages to like stick his hand in its mouth. Mm-hmm. Oh no! Now I remember what happened. Walter sticks his left hand in its mouth and it eats his hand. And then this mysterious figure, comes out and shoots like this really massive flare out that blinds all of them and scares the alien out. And he's like, "Follow me. You'll be safe with me." So they go back and they go to like this city, basically this really primitive city. And they go in there. He's like, "You'll be safe in here." So then he unveils his hood and it's David from Prometheus. But he's got like long blonde hair and he basically looks like Fabio.
He kind of does look like Fabio.
I actually kind of laughed at this. He looks like fucking Fabio. And he's got the British accent and everything. So he's talking with them. He's like he starts showing them around, and like as they walk into the city, it's like this big open arena, and there are just like tons of burned corpses, and you don't know what they are. So he takes them in, and he's like, "You'll be safe here." And then they go onto the roof and start trying to get a transmission, and he starts explaining to them how he came here with Captain or Elizabeth Shaw, and he claims that what happened was their ship crashed and accidentally detonated a payload of a weaponized virus, which basically either destroys you or turns you into an alien, and it killed everybody, every living thing here. But at the same time, it shows a flashback, and what he actually did was he fucking like carpet bombed the planet with this virus. Like, it literally
Just destroyed everybody.
it shows the ship flying in, and it's like it opens up, and and they're all like, "Oh, what's that?" Like they look like this really dumb primitive species, even though they're the engineers from Prometheus. Yeah. And you see David up there, and he just like has like thousands of bombs, and he just drops them.
He just unloads them.
I mean, he unloads his payload and just kills everything. I mean, everything on the planet is dead because of him.
Yeah.
He explains that Elizabeth Shaw died in the crash, and that for the last 10 years, he's basically been living here, just trying to get by because like the virus has killed everything. So then he like shows him around, and then he has a scene with Walter, because Walter looks like him and is obviously like really curious. And they have a scene where he's like telling him about love and creation. He's like, they'll never love you.
Yeah.
I can love you. They won't love you.
Yeah.
And he teaches him how to play the flute. And then Walter is like, I'm better than you in every way, which I thought was funny.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Because he's like an upgraded model. So they have that long conversation. Then it cuts back to one of the crew members is like, I gotta go wash up. She's a real smarty pants.
Yeah.
Like,
Good
let me go
idea.
let me go to an unsafe remote part and just like start washing my face or something. So the alien gets her, decapitates her, and then the captain goes looking for her, and he finds her dead, and then
with David.
Yeah,
The
with
aliens
David.
With David.
And oh yeah, David is talking to the alien. He's basically like, he knows how to like claim them because it turns out he made them, which is something we learn later. But yeah, he's talking to the alien. He's like, if you breathe into its nostrils, you'll have control of it forever. And then the captain shoots it and kills it. Finally, kills one of them. So then he's like, you need to tell me the truth here. He's like, fine, like, follow me. So he takes him down, and there's like these eggs. And here, this cat, he's just a fucking genius. He's so smart.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's a highly intelligent individual.
So
Billy Crudup is.
So he's like, these are like, the aliens. They're like, basically growing in these pods. And he's like, go ahead, take a look.
And Billy Crudup needs a closer look.
Yeah, so Billy Crudup goes over there, looks into it, and of course it's a face hugger. So it jumps out of the pod, impregnates his face. And then, David's like, huh, like, you tool bag. I gotcha. And then I think Walter basically figures out that David engineered these aliens from the virus.
Yeah.
I think it's at this point. And and he finds Elizabeth Shaw's body, and he like experimented on her and turned it into like an alien hybrid.
Yeah, you just see her body like just, like a ridiculous autopsy had been performed on it or something.
So, and then Walter figures out the truth, and then
Billy Crudup wakes up.
Yeah, Billy Crudup wakes up. I think Danny figures it out next. Because Danny stumbles upon all this stuff. I don't remember what point it is.
Yeah, she's looking through all this stuff too.
Yeah, and she figures out that he murdered Elizabeth Shaw. So then Crudup wakes up. The chest burster comes out. That thing gets loose.
Yeah,
it starts like.
Well, and also that is like the alien.
Yeah, this at this point is like the alien from the Alien movies.
Yeah.
Also, at this point, the whole time they've been trying to get contact with the Covenant. They have no idea what's going on. So finally, they have this whole thing where they have like this internal conflict. They bring it down. They can finally make contact with the crew, and the crew is like, bring the the cargo shuttle down. We'll use that. And he's like, that's not going to work. Yeah, well, whatever. So they make a plan to bring that down. Then the alien gets loose and just starts like raining terror on the rest of the people that are left. One of the guys from the security team, they go in there, and then they are like getting ready to, I think, attack David. And then the alien gets him, and he bleeds all over one of the guys, the sergeant's face. So then Danny knows what's going on. She confronts David. He basically like decides he's going to rape her or something, I think.
Yeah, he's going to do some bad stuff to her. That's for sure. He says he's going to give her the Elizabeth Shaw treatment.
Yeah. Before this, though, Walter confronts David, and he's like, I know what you did. And then Walter's like, or David's like, nobody will ever love you like I do. And then he kisses him. Yeah, that's pretty weird. Yeah. And then he like rips his spinal cord out. I guess is that what he did to him?
He, like, rips some kind of central, like his nervous system or something. Like he rips it out through his neck.
And it looks like he's like done for.
Yeah.
So then he goes to go and work on Danny, and then Walter comes back and he's like, we've had some upgrades. So then they have like this epic throwdown because Walter is like stronger and better than he is, even though he's only got one hand. So all the while this is happening, I think it's basically just down to Danny, and I think there's somebody else left.
Well, I think it's just Danny and the two people on the ship, right?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, I don't think anybody. Well, the sergeant too.
Oh yeah, it's Danny. It's at this point, it's pretty much just Danny and the sergeant because they've been getting picked off left and right. Yeah. Like we haven't even gone over every death.
Yeah.
So then the ship comes down. David and Walter are fighting. She runs for the ship, and then there's this scene with David and Walter. Oh yeah, I feel like I should backtrack a little bit. Walter cuts his hair to look like David, and it's very obvious what they're setting up for. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he does that, and it's not really addressed, but it's like, he just looks like him, and they're not sure who's who. So they have this epic fight, and David's like, "Do you really want to kill me?" He's like, "Yeah." So then, like, you see him reaching for a knife, and he's about to bash his brains in, so you don't know who's going to survive, even though it's very obvious that David is going to replace Walter.
Yeah.
Like, it's unbelievably telegraphed.
Yeah, it's very telegraphed.
So they have a long epic fight on the cargo shuttle. They finally kill the alien and drop it, and then the sergeant and Danny and Walter, who turns out to be David, all escape. So they get back to the ship. They're like, happy, like, hey, we survived finally. But then, like, as things are like, they're finally fixing things, they wake up in the middle of the night, and it turns out that the sergeant had gotten infected, and he had a chest burster burst out. So that thing gets out, and of course, like the trademark Ridley Scott thing, where like naked people get killed in the shower by the alien. Two of the people that were on the ship still were having sex in the shower, and of course, like the alien first, like uses his tail.
The tail comes around and kind of just brushes against the leg. What was that?
Yeah.
Was that something? I guess we're good.
And then they get fucking destroyed,
and then they're dead.
And then they have this very long sequence where they have to Tennessee and Danny have to like trick the alien, and then they get it into the cargo bay. They get it. She traps it inside one of these giant trucks and then launches it into space. So yeah, whatever. That sequence was way too long.
Yeah,
like, and the whole time Walter is like watching from the cameras, and you're not really sure like if he's gonna help or not. And he does help
because he's kind of helping him, but at the same time, at least I knew that was David.
Yeah, it was obviously David.
Yeah.
So that happens, and they're like, all right, it's finally done. And then as they're getting put back into stasis, Danny asks Walter about the cabin because originally she said she was gonna build a cabin on the lake with her husband, and she asked if David would help her, or Walter, and he said yes. And then when she asked David, he gave it away because he started talking with a British accent again.
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
And he also just gave her kind of a David like look. Yeah. Like it just.
And she knows it's him, but it's too late. She literally gets put into stasis, and then he like starts coughing up like these alien embryos and puts them in like with the other embryos, and then he sends a log saying that most of the crew was killing the neutrino burst, and that's it. It ends. So basically, that whole ship is fucked.
Yeah, they're done for big time. All right, well, nice job there. That was quite a synopsis. So, what are your overall thoughts on this movie? Did you enjoy it?
I actually really liked it. I just had some major problems with it.
I totally agree.
There's so much I want to talk about with this.
Yeah, I liked it too.
I thought it was actually like there were some parts that were kind of scary, to be honest.
No, I agree.
Like I'm not really scared by movies. I was like, wow, that's a little scary.
Yeah, what parts jumped out at you?
Like, one thing when he shot the alien, and remember when he was pointing the gun at the alien, and he was like, "Don't shoot," and he shot anyway.
Yeah,
that was kind of a jump scare, but that kind of scared me a little bit.
Well, there was something really just eerie about that alien in particular, just standing there, like not.
He was very, very creepy.
Plus, it was just a really creepy looking alien. Like all throughout the very end of Prometheus and into this movie, there are all these sort of variations of the xenomorph.
Yeah.
Like you see different versions of it that are clearly building up to the final one that we're all familiar with. But that was probably the most disturbing looking one. It was like albino and didn't have any eyes and just sort of had this like
little tiny mouth,
mouth that was all bloodied because he just ripped that woman's head off.
I also thought the scene on the dropship was really tense and like just ominous.
Oh, where she got. The first one?
Yeah, where she got
locked up. And white knuckle scene. Yeah. Man. I was gripping the edge of my seat for that
was
one.
Really tense. Also with the cargo ship where they were trying to kill the alien, that was really tense too.
Yeah.
Like I was absolutely. Like, oh crap. I was like gripping my seat for that.
The tension in this movie was great. Like the action and suspense and everything, Ridley Scott's the man.
Yeah.
I also... One of the things I obviously love were the visuals.
Oh, they were amazing.
Fantastic.
I mean, just when I was watching the beginning, I was like, if you just want like solid science fiction visuals, this movie has just got all of them.
Yeah, like if you just want to go into a movie and just watch this movie just for the science fiction elements, like you're going to be in good shape. I mean, the effects were incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Like nothing, I didn't think anything looked... CGI, and there was obviously a lot of CGI in the movie, but like it was impeccable. And even that first initial scene with that big what was that, like a sail?
Yeah, like the solar sail.
That looked so cool the way they did that. Yeah. And that whole neutrino burst scene was so well done. And even just repairing that sail was just
that was like solid, spacewalk science fiction stuff.
It really was. It was fantastic. The visuals were just incredible. What other visuals? I was a little disappointed in the engineer city.
Yeah, well, because the engineers are presented as this highly intelligent race, and their city, it looked kind of cool when they got there, because it was like, there's just like this giant like arena with a bunch of like burned corpses, but then you find out that that's literally all there is.
Yeah, and I guess I can get into one of my problems with the movie. I had some fairly major ones. I like the movie overall quite a bit. I loved Prometheus, the movie before this, and Prometheus obviously left a lot of questions unanswered. I think too many so for some viewers, because, you know, obviously it got pretty good reviews, but there were a lot of mixed reviews and people kind of disappointed that that movie went a little bit away from what people were familiar with Alien, was a little more philosophical and, you know, left some open-ended questions, like the movie ends on a cliffhanger. And this movie, I feel as though Ridley Scott wanted to maintain some loyalty to his Prometheus audience, but he also really wanted to clearly just like get back to his roots with Alien. And I wasn't super satisfied with some of the ways that the Prometheus storylines were tied up, and the engineers were one. Like in Prometheus, those are, you know, they're presented as this master race. I mean, they terraform planets, they have just untold technologies. They developed this pathogen that you see in this movie so frequently. Like they came up with that and created it. They're like physically dominant. Like, I mean, you know, their technology is far beyond anything humanity could ever dream of. I mean, when they wake up, the engineer in Prometheus, he doesn't even really deem any of the humans worth talking to. Like David is the only one who can communicate with him, and he just kind of gives a really knowing look toward David and realizes the humans created him, and then he just basically does work on everybody. Yeah. But this is presented as a really interesting, you know, race that you want to get to know more about. You want to figure out where they came from. You want to figure out what they're all about. You want to figure out what kind of technology they have. And in this movie, the extent of their presence in it is really just them like huddled in this sort of primitive looking city, and then they're just destroyed by David, who unleashes the pathogens on them. And it's like, I get that he kind of, I guess, took him by surprise, but
because he was using one of their ships.
Yeah, he was using one of their ships. So it's not even that I'm disappointed that David killed them all, because I think that makes sense for David's character, and we'll get more into David later. But it's just the fact that I guess I just expected more visually from the city. I think I expected the engineers to factor into the movie a little more, and it just feels like that plot line was kind of tied up really, really hastily. Yeah. In a way that's just like, what can we do to get these guys out of the movie so we don't have to deal with them, but make it not totally, you know, a cop out. And I think that's why David just kills them all.
It was also like, if you hadn't seen Prometheus, there were some questions in this film, because like I wasn't really sure. So he goes there with the weapon payload, and like, you know, he destroys them all. And like, if you haven't seen Prometheus, you probably don't understand why he did that. And it turns out because they wanted to kill humanity. So I guess they thought they were saving Earth by going and killing them all. Yeah. But yeah, it's like, it's interesting because it's like it's like they wanted to just tie that storyline up, and it's tied up now.
Yeah. Well, it also makes me wonder, one thing I didn't know, and this is, in Prometheus, a big question is, at the end of the movie, Elizabeth Shaw says, I want to go to where they come from. So is that the home world of the engineers? Did you get
That's definitely their home world.
That's their home
world.
But
what I don't understand is that it? Because they obviously are on more than one planet.
That's what I mean. Like, this is a race that has colonized, like, star systems. Yeah. And that's, like, all we see is this one city.
And it's not even really a city. It's like a
village.
Yeah, it's like a village. And, you know, there's like a couple hundred of them there. They're dead.
Yeah, and it just makes me wonder, like, if this is their homeworld, I mean, surely there were like metropolises or something on that planet. You don't really get a sense of, is the whole planet destroyed? Like, are there, I mean, I guess it has to be.
Well, I think what the whole idea was is that virus kills everything. So even like, let's say if this literally, you know, if this obviously was intention for that to be like the main city, even if that's just like a small village and there's multiple cities there, they're all dead now. Because the pathogen killed everything on the planet, including all the true. But it's like, really, it was such a letdown to see, like, this is it. These are the engineers, like the creators of humans. Like, we have better shit than they do.
Yeah, like they didn't. Well, and the thing is, in Prometheus, you see that's not the case, because you see some crazy shit that these guys have. But in this movie, it's just this like primitive looking city, and even walking around the city, there's no technology there. It's like it's
just like stone.
It's huts. Like stone huts and like, you know, like mud cave dwellings. Like, it's just like, surely these guys are not living in these primitive dwellings, but I guess they were. And it just makes me question, like, are we going to get another movie that more heavily involves the engineers? Are we going to see like how they fought against the pathogen? Because surely with the amount of technology they have, they must have been able to put up some kind of resistance or something.
Well, I don't know. That pathogen, it literally just wiped them. It was
true,
like a nuclear bomb.
It was. I mean, it did destroy them pretty quickly. But I mean, assuming like, say there were, massive engineer cities on the other side of the planet, like were they able to do anything to resist this? Did they get away? Like it just left...
It was very
I guess
unsatisfying.
it was unsatisfying to me because that was one of the big questions I wanted answered coming into this was, who are these engineers? And it didn't ruin the movie because I get David's motivation for killing them in that city, and I'm sort of left hoping that maybe we'll get a little bit more clarification in later movies about what happened to them or what their status is. But that was sort of disappointing to me, and it sort of felt like Ridley Scott was like, okay, well, we gotta tie this storyline up. People don't like that as much. Let's get back to this alien crap. So David will kill them all. And
apparently, the next movie could be in between Prometheus and this movie, so I'm sure that would heavily involve the engineers.
Yeah, and if that's the case, I'm down for that.
Yeah.
So I don't want to judge it too heavily, but just in context of this movie, what I was expecting coming in having loved Prometheus, I was a little disappointed in that. And I was also disappointed in Elizabeth Shaw's character, who was a huge, she's the central heroine in Prometheus. She's a badass. I mean, she cuts the alien out of her in this crazy like surgery scene. Like she's a really like sympathetic, cool character, and she's just kind of unceremoniously dealt with in this movie. And again, it's like I get the reason I'm not like openly revolting again is because I get the motivation behind David. David's obviously an evil guy, so I get that he did that and experimented on her and killed her. It just seems to me that there could have been a better way of handling that than what was given to us. It just felt too tidy. It felt too like neatly wrapped. Like, okay, this problem's gone. We don't need to deal with her anymore.
I think she was supposed to come back, and then it was like she flip-flopped, saying she was, and then she wasn't. So something tells me she was in the script before and got written out because she couldn't do it or didn't want to do it.
Yeah,
I'd be willing to bet she was going to have more of a role because they said she was going to be in it.
Yeah. So that was one other thing I was expecting. And I guess since we're just on the negative things I found in the movie, this crew is stupid.
Oh yeah, this is what I really want to get into. First of all, this is a major flaw in the film is, first of all, the characters are so underdeveloped that when they die, you don't give a shit because you don't even know who they are.
No.
So they're very underdeveloped to the point where you don't care. I think it's almost like that's part of the reason he did so many of them.
Can we think of any names of these crew members? All right, who is Billy Crudup? Do you remember was his name?
I don't remember his name.
Was it Dallas or something?
I don't know. All right, the only names I know is I think it was like Sergeant Loeb or something.
That'd be the first time.
I think it was Sergeant Loeb.
Daniels was the main girl.
Yeah, Tennessee.
Danny McBride. Who is his wife? Like Rosie or Rosalind or something? I cannot think of any of these other names. I'm gonna bring it up here now on IMDb, and I'm gonna read these names off.
But yeah, while we're on that, the characters were so unbelievably stupid at some points that you were almost like, you deserve to die, you fucking idiot. Mainly the one that pissed me off the most was the captain, Billy Crudup, and then the pilot of that ship. I mean, you would think that these people would be trained to handle like the biggest, most intense, like worst case scenarios. This pilot, as soon as she saw somebody was sick, she literally acted like, all is lost. Like they're going down with the ship right now. They're all going to die.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it was like, don't overreact. And she was just like, panic.
Well, plus, and she just totally screwed over her friend by locking her in the room. And it's like, if you're worried about quarantine, the thing already caught on you. So why the hell would you lock your friend in there with it? Like that, especially when your friend was about to get out. It's not as if the alien was running around the room already.
Yeah, like
she had plenty of time to get out of that.
Like she locked her in there before the alien got out of her. But it was like, obviously, like she starts panicking when she sees them. Then she starts really panicking when she gets like bled on. And then she just like fucking loses her shit. I mean, like, and then she gets the gun. She drops the first gun. She gets another gun. She's just like shooting it wildly everywhere. Blows the whole fucking ship up because she's so incompetent. I mean, this person would be nowhere near any kind of alien expedition because she was just so incompetent. I mean, everybody on this crew is incompetent, but she was by far the worst.
Yeah.
The captain, Billy Crudup, he's a fucking idiot too. I mean, he's just like this gullible piece of shit.
Yeah.
Fucks his whole crew over. It's funny because like Daniels is like, and I don't want to say it's obviously a trap, but if you're like, if there's bad shit out in the universe and like you hear Country Roads Take Me Home playing, like you don't go to that planet.
No, especially when you have a distinct, planet that you're heading to.
Like that.
Though I think, I gotta say, I think that was at least competently handled, that the fact that the pod exploded. So I gave them some reason. I can understand them not wanting to get back in those pods.
Yeah.
I just think they would have found that that kind of flaw out earlier, like years ago before this trip happened. But
it's just like, they know there's bad shit out there, and it's like, it wasn't a distress signal. It was like a song, come, like, it almost was like a giant neon sign, like, come live here. And it was like, don't buy it, obviously.
Seriously.
All right, so who we
Okay, so this is really interesting. They don't even list the character names for some of these other people.
Really?
Yeah, it just shows, like, I'm on IMDb and it just shows the actor. Like for some of them, it shows their character name, and for the other ones, the non-memorable ones, it doesn't even have the name for them.
The best part is like in the beginning they show like this crew photo.
Yeah, because it's like there's Tennessee, Daniels, Elizabeth Shaw, and then it's like
I think that guy was Sergeant Lowe, but yeah,
this guy doesn't show their character name. So that is very interesting.
Yeah, they I'm sure they have names, but
they were really. I think. I mean, the crew from Prometheus I found a little bit more annoying overall. Like, there were some really annoying characters in that crew. But so in this crew, besides the pilot, it was the pilot that locked her friend in.
Yeah,
she was really annoying. But everyone else I didn't really mind. But yeah, it was just, they were just really unmemorable.
But with that photo, like, they showed this crew photo and like they're all happy in it, and then they showed it again at the end, like, oh, look at all the people we've lost. And it's like, who the fuck are these people?
We don't know who these people are.
I don't give a shit. I don't know who you are.
Yeah, they're literally just there to be expendable kills.
I mean, he did a really bad job with his character development. I was shocked.
Yeah, I thought Daniel. Let's talk about who we liked in the movie performance-wise. I thought Daniels was good.
I thought. What's his name again? Danny McBride. I thought he was really good. Good performance. I was shocked.
I'm usually not a huge fan of him.
Yeah, I don't like him at all. But he was
really good in this. Yeah, he was. I actually believed him. Like, even though I didn't give any two craps about his wife, like, know anything about her, I felt bad for him when you know, he had that scene where he's leaning there. I thought he was good. I thought all the really central characters were good in Daniels, Tennessee, and obviously David.
He gave it really good. Yeah, Michael Fassbender gave like the best performance by far.
He did. Billy Crudup I thought was annoying in this movie.
He was just a fucking idiot.
He was. Like, I don't know. That's one other issue I have with this movie is I feel like his faith storyline was like really poorly handled.
Yeah.
And like it was.
Well, I mean, it makes sense to me because the whole theme of the movie was creation.
Yeah.
So he's talking about God, but it's like it just was like, okay, he's a Christian. That's it.
I feel like they wanted to do more with his character though, and it just didn't.
Yeah.
It never really panned out, and I think partly because his character was just unlikable.
I honestly would not be surprised. We should really look at scripts sometimes. I would be willing to bet they cut a lot of script out because this was already a long movie that I feel like stretched on for far too long.
Yeah.
The last sequence to me did not need to happen.
No.
But I would be willing to bet that if you looked at that script, a lot of these characters were developed better and there was probably more with them, but it was just too long.
Yeah.
I would really be curious to see what they cut out because it's like, there could have been a lot of interesting stuff. I think it would have been fucking hilarious if he was the only character that survived because he was a Christian. I would have loved that so much.
That would have been a statement.
That would have been a huge, because I mean, the engineers are in this, they made humanity, so obviously like God doesn't exist in this universe.
Yeah. Or if it does, it's obviously not the one that people on Earth are familiar with. But I just, his character to me was just so unlikable and didn't. I guess you're supposed to like feel for him when he's indecisive and like trying to get his crew on his side, but he just came off as like whiny and like it just
and dumb.
Irritating and dumb.
And not only that, but it's like the crew, it's like the whole like storyline, the crew's not on his side. It doesn't really matter because they listen to him.
Yeah.
They listen to him, and I mean, they listen to him up to the point where everybody gets fucking killed and then it doesn't matter anymore. It's like that storyline really didn't matter.
Yeah.
That aspect of his character didn't matter because he died anyway. Everybody died.
Yeah, I agree. And my one other big issue with the movie was I just didn't really care. Like, and maybe it's like I consider myself an Alien fan though. Like, I like all the movies. I've seen all the movies. Like, I've seen Prometheus a number of times. I've seen the first two Aliens a lot of times. Like, I love the series, but I guess I just didn't really care when the actual alien came into the movie.
Yeah.
Like, the one we're familiar with. Like, and clearly that was a scene that was supposed to be like, oh crap, there's the alien.
Because the white alien was doing just as much work.
It was, yeah. And it's just like, the last, like, 20, 30 minutes of the movie, I feel like we were supposed to be, like, transported back to, like, the first Alien movie. Like, oh, my God, this is so intense. It's the original Alien. And I just think it kind of, it doesn't tarnish the rest of the series for me, but it's kind of like, okay, that's where the alien came from, Billy Crudup.
Yeah, literally
that's
it was
how
like,
we got there.
Like, now we know how the alien, because it was like he said this series will explain how the aliens were in it, and now we know. Like,
yeah.
Here's another problem I had. David's character was like made the aliens, but like how the hell did he do that? He had no lab equipment. He literally he had like this little cave, like it was just his room, and there were like tons of drawings and like little like I guess they were like what are they called?
Like the
preserved creatures, basically. And he was like, I create
taxidermy.
Yeah, taxidermy. And he basically said he like crossbred the alien. Like, how the hell did you do that? You have no equipment here. You have nothing here.
The thing is, like the engineers, as advanced as they are, surely they have technology somewhere, but you don't see it on this.
Yeah, maybe
city.
He was using their shit, but we don't know.
Yeah, we don't see that anywhere. Yeah. And it's just like, I didn't really give a crap when the alien came into it. I mean, like, I thought some of the action at the end was cool, but it was just kind of like, I feel like I'm really supposed to care that this is the alien that we're familiar with, and he's killing people. And I was just kind of like, I don't.
They were already getting killed.
They were already getting killed just as effectively, if not more so, by lesser or more unfamiliar versions of the alien. So I just didn't really care that much. And I also feel like there was just kind of almost a tonal shift for me the last end of the movie.
Yeah.
Because it like. After that one thing I loved, and we'll get more into the stuff we liked, because we did both like the movie, I think. But that last action scene where Tennessee's coming in to rescue him, that was a cool action.
Oh, yeah.
That was a fantastic
when
action
she's on the ship, that's like white knuckle, edge of your seat.
That was a great action scene. And I feel like after that scene, it's almost like Ridley Scott tries to slow everything down again and like create like this horror movie for like the last 20 minutes, because the alien's on board the ship.
Yeah.
They have like the shower scene. Like, that's another thing. It's like after that, everything that just happened, let's go take a shower right now.
And have sex in it.
Yeah, like
right
I would
now.
be like making sure everything was okay before that I did that. But yeah, and then it's like I feel like the tone just kind of changed. Like, okay, let's get back to like alien roots. And
exactly.
Like
You're right.
And it just didn't quite work for me, especially since, for several reasons. Number one, we've seen the aliens all throughout the movie, so there's no mystery of like what the alien looks like.
This alien was not in the shadows. It was pretty much like when it started attacking, like, it was just fighting.
He's out in the daylight.
Like, he doesn't give a shit. He's like a tank.
Yeah, exactly. And all the aliens in this movie were pretty much played for like action. I mean, there were some horror elements to what they did, but you see them. Like, there's no mystery as to what they look like. And the last like 20 minutes of the movie, we're on board the Covenant, and it's like, it's almost as if they're trying to portray it as like this horror movie. And it's like, look, I already know what this thing looks like, so stop trying to hide it. And, when the thing is revealed, there's no mystery as to where it is, because Walter/David is tracking it. So you see where the alien's going. So there's I didn't feel like there was all that much suspense there, because you know where the alien is. It's not like it's going to pop up out of nowhere.
I had a lot of problems with that final scene.
Yeah.
It felt like it was literally like hastily tacked on to the end. It really, like, it didn't even need to be there. Because like the climax of the film was when they were fighting on the cargo ship.
Yeah,
and then they have
and
another
that was a great scene.
Yeah.
And it just feels like the last 20 minutes of the movie was almost just like fan service.
Yeah.
Like, the alien is back. It's the alien you're familiar with. Let's see if we can get him in there doing some stuff that's reminiscent from the original Alien. Like, let's get some horror elements in here. Let's get him stalking. We need a couple of these crew members to survive so we can have one last death scene. Like, that's clearly why those guys were there. Like, just so they could be killed.
Like, literally, like, to me, it was just like, it went on for the last 10 minutes, dragged on for so long. Like, when they're tracking it through, and then she's like, shut these doors. And I also thought it was funny how like he's like loves this whole like using heavy machinery to kill the alien.
Yeah,
like they did it twice in this movie.
Yep,
did it in Aliens. I don't remember if they did it in the first Alien.
Well, she ejects it out. So
yeah, I mean that's similar. Yeah, I mean she ejects it out in the first Alien too. But really, that final scene, like, I'm just curious about the production of this film. It felt like it was just like, oh crap, we need to add 10 more minutes on. Let's do another scene.
Yeah. Well, I think what that was is like they needed to get like because the alien is the alien isn't introduced till right near the end of the movie. So clearly I feel like they wanted to get it in there and doing some stuff, and I feel like that it just was kind of a weird tonal shift for me. And again, it's like I think it's the combination of I've already seen plenty of similar looking aliens throughout the earlier parts of the movie, and even a little bit in Prometheus. And the fact that they don't hide it at all, it's just out in the open. I just didn't care, really.
The last 10 minutes, I was like, I'm ready to leave.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, like, the ending for that movie really hurt it a lot for me. I still like it a lot. That's one thing I really want to talk about is the twist. First of all, like, I know that you can foreshadow a twist and still do it, but it's like, first of all, they telegraphed it so much that you'd have to be like retarded.
Do you mean that David is Walter? Yeah.
So you'd have to be retarded to not see it coming. But what was really frustrating to me was like, it was so obvious that I was like, maybe they won't do it, because if he doesn't do it, that would be the better twist.
Yeah.
If he's not him, because and it was obvious too, because like Danny's like suspicious, but she sees he doesn't have the hand.
Yeah.
Even though he obviously just cut his own hand off because he doesn't give a shit. He's an android.
Yeah.
But it's like it was so obvious to me, and I feel like it hurt the movie, because it's like when you make a twist that obvious and then do it anyway, it's like, okay, well, what was the point? Like, it wasn't a twist. It was like, oh my God, he's actually David's like, oh, yeah, duh.
Yeah.
Of course he's fucking David. Of course he is.
Of course he is. You know that. You knew that was going to happen.
And not only that, but really, it almost, I guess, I know horror movies have bad endings a lot, but it's like, okay, well, literally everything we just watched was kind of for nothing. I mean, we know what's going to happen in the first Alien movie. So literally, this was just like, here's how it happened, not like why. You shouldn't even care why. It just did happen.
But, all right, so let's get into the stuff we liked. I think ultimately, I feel like this movie comes down to the visuals and David.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like those are what drives the movie. And I think they nailed both of those.
Absolutely.
And I think that's why I still really like the movie.
Yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah. The visuals, we've already touched on the visuals. I mean, Ridley Scott always has incredible visuals. I mean, Prometheus was fantastic. I mean, all of his movies, the original Alien, like Blade Runner, they've all been great. And the visual, that's, no different in this movie. And David, I thought Fassbender gives a great performance.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
especially he's playing two people. And I mean,
Yeah,
they're having conversations with each other a lot.
Yeah, I think all of my favorite scenes in the movie had to do with him. Like, I love that first scene in the movie, especially, it's interesting because Wayland in Prometheus was Guy Pearce in like old age makeup and stuff. And it's interesting to see him as, just an older man rather than like this ancient guy who's like at death's doorstep. And I thought that scene was really interesting. And just the way it was shot, I think the cinematography of it, I thought both performances were great. And it kind of just illustrates what David is all about right in that first scene. The only problem I had with it is I feel like if I was Guy Pearce, I would be really disturbed that right after I create this android, he's already asking questions like that and making not assumptions, but making observations that I am a superior being to you.
Yeah.
I think at that point, I wouldn't have just asked David to get tea for me. I probably would have shut him down.
Yeah.
Like,
you should have been like, this is a problem.
Maybe this guy needs to go back to the lab and get reworked a little bit. But
yeah, that's what they did with Walter, obviously.
Yeah, but I would have been a little frightened at that point. But it was a really good scene. And I think the scene with David and Walter where they're playing the flute was a really cool scene too. Just it was really interesting. And plus, it just illustrates how superior of a being, I guess, they both are, just able to learn things that quickly. And I thought it was just interesting.
Did David have like any kind of super strength in Prometheus? Or
Yeah,
he
does.
did. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was wondering about that. I was like, because I hadn't really seen Prometheus. I was like, do these guys like not have super strength?
Prometheus.
And it's like, yeah, they do have super strength.
Yeah, he's definitely, and even like the first scene in Prometheus where you see David, he's riding a unicycle and like spinning a basketball on his finger. So it sets it up. You're not really sure what he is right away because he like the opening, he's just doing like kind of mundane tasks, and then that scene kind of is like, okay, this guy's not human.
Yeah.
Like, so that's the way they introduce him. But yeah, he's obviously really. And throughout Prometheus, he does different things. Like he quickly kind of learns how to like primitively communicate in the alien the engineer's language. Like in this temple they're exploring, there's like all these different like interactive buttons and stuff. And David's sort of like learning how to do that. And he's always portrayed as really curious. And toward the end of Prometheus, obviously his devious side comes out because he purposely infects one of the crew members with the pathogen. So yeah, he's definitely it paints him as different. I think the interesting thing about him, and I guess it's what they corrected in Walter, is that David is so human.
Yeah,
he has a lot of human.
Too much.
He does. He has a lot of thoughts. He has like human like desires. It almost seems like he pretty much has a sex drive too.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of sexual tension that scene with him and Walter. Yeah, at least especially from David's end. And even when he's on top of Daniels at that one point, he's like, "Is this how we do this?"
Yeah,
It's clear that like he's sort of either developed or always had these human like aspirations and things. And I think that's one of the reasons why I get that he kills all the engineers in that scene is that David considers himself to be a superior being to humans, and I'm sure, and he's just power hungry. So I'm sure killing the beings that created humans just fuels his God complex even more.
It's also possible that was partially Shaw's idea because, she wanted to go find their homeworld and maybe she thought they were getting ready to come carpet bomb Earth.
I didn't get that from Prometheus, and that's a good point you raised. Like she seemed much more curious about getting to know the engineers and like learning about them. I don't think she went there to kill them.
Yeah.
I don't. It seems like that would have been David's idea, but again,
I mean, I can believe that. But
having seen Prometheus, she has much more of a curious, like peaceful mind than he does. So I don't know, but again, that's why I wish there were some answers there.
Yeah,
like,
because it's obvious the engineers wanted to kill humans.
They did, yeah.
So I mean, it's almost like from that scene, it's like maybe David was still kind of.
And there's actually a line in Prometheus where Shaw says, "I want to go to their planet to find out why they wanted to kill us." And it just seems like it would have been totally against her character to say that,
kill them,
to say that, and then get there and be like, "Psych! I just want to kill them all." Like, but David, being power hungry and having this god complex, which is only getting stronger, like he definitely, I think it makes sense for his character. It was just a little disappointing in the way they did it, but yeah, Fassbender was phenomenal. I thought he was. Yeah. I wasn't quite as interested in Walter. I thought he was really good as Walter too, but I think he did fine. I think both of those characters playing off one another, I think worked really well, because Walter was obviously just more, duty bound, as he says, or whatever. What else? What other performances? I thought Danny McBride was good.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
Me.
He wasn't in a lot, but he was definitely good.
Yeah, I thought Daniels was good.
Yeah,
didn't like her as much as Shaw from Prometheus, but I thought she was good. That's really about it, performance-wise, that I can think of. I mean, I thought Guy Pearce was good in that first scene, but he's just not in it much at all. Like,
I mean, most of the performances are like they're so short and unmemorable. It's like you can't even make a judgment call on them.
Yeah, everybody's basically just an expendable character, just to be dealt with. But yeah, that's about it.
What else?
Score was good.
Yeah, score was good.
They had some Prometheus throwbacks in there that I liked, but nothing particularly stood out. I don't know. I mean, that's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we could just like give our final thoughts.
Yeah, final thoughts. I really enjoyed the movie. I did have a lot of problems with it. I didn't like it as much as Prometheus. I was a little unsatisfied with some of the answers that were given in this movie, but I still think some of the overall visuals, the three center performances, particularly Fassbender, and obviously some of the action set pieces were just so good that it outweighed everything else. Though I did have a lot of problems with the movie. So out of 10 stars or 10 or whatever, I'm gonna give it a 7.
I think I'll give it an 8. I liked it a little more. Yeah.
All right, fair enough. So that is Alien Covenant. Definitely go see it. Worth seeing in theaters, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I guess we're gonna move on to this point and just kind of touch on some of just the alien mythology and alien lore real quick. So, Dave, do you want to lead us into apparently Neil Blomkamp was thinking about making it.
Yeah, so there's a lot of, apparently Alien is a franchise that has just been, first of all, it's been around since 79, but they've just been trying to make movies that have not materialized for a while. So first...
You keep talking. I've got to use the facilities. I've been drinking a lot of water.
So first, the interesting thing is that for a couple of years, Neil Blomkamp was apparently working on Alien 5, and it was actually going to be a direct sequel to Aliens, and it was going to basically erase Alien 3 and Resurrection, and it was going to have Michael Biehn and Sigourney Weaver and the actress that played, probably a new actress, played Newt or whatever, and they were going to, I guess, basically crash land their escape pod somewhere, and this was, pretty hyped up because it brought the original cast back. And, Neil Blomkamp is like the master of sci-fi currently. So this had a lot of hype. This ended up getting canned. I think Ridley Scott wasn't a huge fan because he basically acted like there was no chance of this happening when he talked about it.
Yeah, the Neil Blomkamp one.
Yeah. So, because, this was, this was going to be a real return to the roots.
I also heard, he was going to focus on, like, Ripley's story, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would be... I'd be interested to see that. I'm kind of up in the air on how I feel about Neil Blomkamp. I've only seen District 9, which I liked.
Elysium is really good. I think it's a little preachy, but in terms of like pure sci-fi action, it's literally unparalleled.
Yeah,
like that has better tension than almost any movie I've ever seen.
Elysium?
Oh yeah.
Oh really?
Like
cool.
There are some action sequences that are just ridiculously intense.
Did you see Chappie?
I didn't see Chappie.
It didn't look great.
It didn't look that good, but I heard it's good.
Yeah, so I'm gonna check that out too.
If you want like good, tense sci-fi, literally. District 9 is really tense.
Yeah, District 9 is really good. And that I think he would also handle almost like because in District 9, a big part of the plot is that, what's his name? Who's that actor? Charlton Copley?
Yeah, Charlton Copley.
Is the main guy, and he's like transforming into that alien. Yeah. I think he would really be able to carry some of those visuals over into the alien universe too, because, whenever you watch an alien movie, you're always waiting for... someone to get infected or something like that, and that sort of transition to take place. So I think he would handle that really well. I don't know how I feel about turning to the Ripley storyline. I mean, I guess I'd be down for that.
I mean, a lot of original Alien fans want Sigourney Weaver back.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, this was, like I said, it was going to erase Alien 3 and Resurrection. It was going to be a direct sequel to Aliens. Yeah, Michael Biehn was going to be in it.
Michael Biehn? Oh, really?
Yeah. It was literally going to be those two and Newt. We're going to be like crash landing.
Yeah, I know Newt was going to be in it
So,
too.
it was literally going to be like wiping the rest of the crap off the surface of the Earth, and this is it.
Yeah.
So, I'm really curious how that would have turned out.
Probably pretty shut down now then. I wouldn't guess
apparently
that's gonna happen.
Apparently Neil wanted to be a producer on Covenant, and they said no. So I think his relationship with him is probably done. I don't know if Fox did Elysium or not.
I'm not sure. I feel like it did. I don't know why.
So
but yeah, I would have been interested in seeing that. I like the direction Ridley Scott's gone. I liked Prometheus and Covenant a lot. So I'm not like super disappointed, but it would have been interesting to see his take on that.
Also, I think we should talk about after Prometheus. Apparently, Ridley Scott basically said Alien is done and he's going in a new direction. Yeah. And I guess the fans were really unhappy about that because after he said that, he basically turned around and said, "Okay, never mind. We're getting back to Alien hardcore."
Yeah.
So then, originally this was going to be called Paradise Lost.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he said that, and this is going to be the second of a trilogy.
A little Milton reference there. Dude.
Yeah. Now it comes out that this isn't the second of a trilogy; it's the first of a new trilogy.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
So they're already
Covenant is the first of a new trilogy.
Yeah, that it might be. At first, it said it was they're doing at least 3, but he originally said it was the second of a trilogy. Then he said that this was a totally new trilogy separate from Prometheus.
See, that's what I almost feel like that's going the fan service route then, because I loved Prometheus. I loved that it was different from Alien, but still kind of reminded you of it. And I feel like this movie, I still liked it a lot, but I felt a little bit like, okay, he's really trying to please both parties here, especially the Alien fans. And it's just like, if he just goes back straight into Alien, I don't know. I mean, I'd still want to see it, but like, I liked him doing something different in Prometheus. I liked that it wasn't a fan service movie. It wasn't, other than the very last scene, because the last scene in Prometheus shows one of the engineers' chest bursting, and it's like sort of a xenomorph-looking creature. So other than that one scene in the movie at the very end, it's not really like a fan service movie at all. And he's doing his own thing and he's coming up with his own ideas. And I like that. And I kind of hope, he doesn't forget that those themes and that direction in the next movie he does. But it kind of seems like he might.
Well, apparently the script is done and it starts shooting next year, so we'll know soon.
Really? Yeah. For the next one?
Yeah, I think he said he wants to start churning these out. Yeah, there's a quote from him. He said he'll do 6 more. He's like, now that it's rolling, he's not going to stop, which I'm glad because,
Yeah, they're good movies. I want to see them, but man, he is... how old is he?
He's 80. He's 79 or 80, so he's really getting up there.
He's getting up there. He probably it's the creeping fear of death is just making him like,
let's churn these things out.
We gotta start pumping these bad boys out so I can get through 10 aliens before I die.
And I hope he makes a bunch more. I don't know how many more he can do. I don't know how.
Probably just trying to set his kids up.
Yeah. How old is Eastwood? He's still directing. He's got to be in his 80s.
I think Clint Eastwood is like 90. Let me see how old Clint Eastwood is.
Hopefully, Ridley can keep going for a long time, but I have a feeling he's going to have to turn it over to somebody else pretty soon here. And I think Neil Blomkamp was like his successor, and then he was like, nah, son, it's me.
Yeah, I'm still doing it.
Like, nah, step aside.
Step aside, son. Yeah, I don't. All right, so Clint Eastwood was born 1930. So he's 87.
Yeah.
Oh man, he's old.
Yeah, he's still doing stuff.
He's still doing it too.
So hopefully Ridley's got at least 10 years left.
I hope so, because I'm liking it. And that's the thing. That's what I love about these movies is even though the ones I have major flaws with, like there's still enough in that movie that I remember it. Like I'm gonna remember Alien Covenant, and I'll want to watch it again because there's so many scenes in it. There's so much that just stands out from like just an average action movie. Like it's not forgettable at all. Like, and there are even action movies that I'll watch and I'll say, oh, that was like proficient, but I forget it like immediately.
Yeah.
This is a movie that although I had a lot of problems with it, I still admire a lot about it. And I want to revisit it. And I feel like that's the case with all of his movies. Even Prometheus I had some problems with, but I respected what it tried to do, and it was its own thing and visually magnificent. So yeah. Hope Ridley keeps on pumping them out.
I guess we can also talk about one more thing. This Alien 3 project, the original Alien 3 script.
yeah.
This is really interesting to me because apparently this is pretty close to what the movie became.
So David Fincher directed Alien 3.
Yeah,
but I guess it was going to be something totally different based on what we were looking into.
Yeah, apparently it was originally going to be like a movie about a wooden like space station or something, like a wooden planet floating through space, filled with monks who shun technology but who have like a giant flying wooden plane, which would look fucking awesome on
That
screen.
would look cool.
And,
it was a space station like in space or
it was in space.
Oh man,
it was either like
planet.
It was either like a space station or a ship, and Ripley's escape pod was going to crash into it, and she would be the only survivor. I guess that they were really desperate to get Michael Biehn out of the sequel because he survives in Aliens.
Yeah, something happened to him. We don't know.
And
he went on to fight the Terminator.
Basically, she was going to get stuck on there, and like literally, like they have like cornfields and stuff on this giant wooden spaceship, and it's like they're like monks. And of course, there's an alien that gets on there, and it just starts tearing shit up. And it was going to be like so Ripley with this all male space crew, and that's what Alien 3 ended up becoming, where she crashes on the prison planet.
Yeah,
and it's an all male planet with a bunch of like sadistic killers.
Yeah,
and also an alien that
I would have been interested to see that monk one. I
really would love to see this giant wooden.
I know that visual alone just seems really cool,
awesome.
especially with like cornfields on it and stuff, like its own environment and stuff.
And then like the monks like trying to fight this alien with like pitchforks and stuff.
That would have been
awesome.
Pretty good. Yeah, I almost wish because Alien 3 like. We were going to try to watch all these before we did this review. I didn't. I rewatched Prometheus but other than that, I mean, I've seen the first two Aliens a lot of times and I loved them, but I could not tell you much about Alien 3 or especially Resurrection.
All I can really remember is that it's on the prison.
It's on a prison planet.
Yeah, and Alien Resurrection. I mean, I know it's a clone of Sigourney Weaver. That's all I can remember.
Yeah, and I just remember a scene where she's like jumping into like a lava pit or something, but I don't know what.
We can't help it. But I mean, those movies really don't matter in the alien mythology at all. So
where would you rank? Would you put Covenant over any of the first two, or what?
No, I would probably put it like Aliens, then Covenant.
Yeah, I actually think I like Aliens better than Alien.
That's a big point of debate. Which one's better?
Yeah,
I definitely like Alien better, but it's close.
Yeah, I love them both. But all right, well, I think that wraps up our Alien discussion for the day. We've covered a lot of ground there.
Yeah.
So finally, to wrap things up, we're just happy to be back. We're going to be previewing the rest of the year. So get used to us, folks. We're here to stay. So what we're going to do is we're going to quickly preview our top 5 movies of the rest of 2017. And right now we are on May 23rd. So I know part of the year's already gone by, but I still think most of the good stuff is yet to come. Yeah. So I guess you just want to go back and forth and go with like our number 5 and work our way down to 1. So what's your number 5 anticipated movie, Dave?
I guess I'm gonna go with number 5, be Captain Underpants.
Nice.
Just because I'm really curious what that's gonna be.
I'm curious too, man. I used to love those books. Did you ever have those days at school where they would like it'd be like the book fair?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, I guess everybody had that, and I'd
always buy those Captain Underpants. I would
always get those Captain Underpants books. I get like the box set and feel like so awesome. Yeah, I don't know. Do we know who's directing or anything? Like
I haven't even looked. I think that Jason Sudeikis is doing the voice.
Really?
I think.
Oh, that's pretty. Yeah, that could be pretty
He's
good.
Not bad.
Yeah, I'm curious to see that too. My number 5 is It Comes at Night.
It Comes at Night.
It's a horror movie coming out, I think, in June, and it's got Joel Edgerton in it, who I like a lot. It actually looks really good. I was basically just surfing, seeing what was coming out.
Yeah.
It's getting some good hype and like looks really, really cool. And actually looks like it has really good performances in it. I think the premise is like people are trapped in this cabin or something, and there's some sort of mysterious. It sounds kind of cliched, but it looks really cool from the trailer I watched. So looking out for that one. All right, what's your number 4?
Yeah, I'm just gonna forewarn my list sucks because I really don't know what's coming out this year. So my number 4 is The Mummy. Unfortunately, I mean I think it looks pretty good.
I definitely want to check it out. We'll have to review that one.
Yeah, I think we definitely should review that one.
When is it? When's it coming out?
Is it like it's soon? It might be next month, like June or July. It's soon. Yeah.
All right, my number 4 is Baby Driver, which Edgar Wright's directing, who did like Hot Fuzz and stuff. So I'm actually not a huge fan of him as a director, but it's got Kevin Spacey in it, and I think it's about like, I'm hearing some reviews calling it almost similar to Drive, so that really interested me. So, and I guess it's got a rockin' soundtrack. So I guess it's like this kid has to, I don't know if he has to commit like crimes or something within a certain time period, and Kevin Spacey's I think a bad guy, but looks pretty hip, so we'll see how that goes.
That actually kind of turned me off how hip it looked.
Yeah, we'll see. But it's got me intrigued. All right, what's your number 3?
Justice League. Which
Justice
I know,
League.
I'm going to be honest, when I heard that apparently Zack Snyder's daughter committed suicide.
What?
Yeah, it just happened.
I
So he had
did
to
not
step
know that.
down from Justice League. I guess it's almost finished.
Was that like really recent?
That happened just a couple days ago.
Oh,
yeah.
God. I did not
So that's
know
really
that.
sad.
That is sad.
And then Joss Whedon stepped in to finish it, which is also sad because I fucking hate Joss Whedon.
Oh, man, I know you do. I love him.
And it sucks because they brought him in because, he did the Avengers, so they think, oh, he's good at this. But I hate the way he did the Avengers. I really did.
I wasn't super crazy about Avengers either, but I love Joss Whedon, but that was
I really
not
don't like Joss Whedon.
I know you hate Buffy.
That really made me a little less excited. I think the film was almost totally done.
Well, it almost just seems like Marvel or DC has created such a different tone and feel than
Like, how can you
Marvel-
bring Joss Whedon in?
that Joss Whedon, Marvel has that very like almost like sunnier visuals.
Yeah, lighthearted.
Lighthearted, like snappy dialogue. And, DC, how, even though it's received a lot of bad
shit
press about it, it's established a more gritty, like
dark,
moody.
brooding. Yeah. And I
Joss
respect
Whedon-
them for that.
Yeah, and I love Joss Whedon, but I don't feel like he necessarily fits that world.
I feel like they need to step away from these. What they're doing is they're using the same people to do all these superhero movies, and I feel like they need to step away from that.
They need someone else.
Because there are a lot of directors out there that can do these films. Like, apparently they approached Sam Raimi to do the Flash movie, and he didn't want to do it. And I mean, I think he would have done a good job, but it's like they're so bent on using the same people that have done them.
Well, and I just feel like most of these movies, especially the Marvel ones, honestly, just reek of like studio involvement.
Oh, I'm
like,
sure.
This is probably a debate, or not even a debate, something we'll get into at a later point, maybe when we review one of these, but I just have a real problem with the way Marvel is doing things. Like,
Yeah,
it
me
just
too.
seems like things are so dependent on one another that these movies don't even feel like they stand on their own.
They don't,
Like,
yeah.
They're
You're
not
right.
like, and also like they're shot so televisually, like the visuals are never very good. Like they
No.
always have, the camera work is never that exciting. It's always just that.
They're very standard in the way they're done.
Yeah, it feels like you're watching a television show, and it just I don't know. I get so sick of watching. Now there are some exceptions. Like I think the first Iron Man is really good.
Oh, yeah,
like I like
absolutely.
that one a lot.
Because that's more like a traditional film. to
Yeah,
be
because
honest.
that's a movie that stands on its own. You care about the character. There's an arc. Like it's actually a movie. So many of these other Marvel ones, in my opinion, are just like setup movies for different things.
It's almost like watching a TV show because it's like you watch the first Avengers and it's like it's really poorly shot with cinematography. Like there's no interesting shots at all.
No. And that's the one thing I will give to DC. I'm not really a fan of a huge fan of any of the DC ones either, but like I saw Suicide Squad and I didn't love the movie by any means, but it felt like a movie. Like watching it, there were some really cool visuals. It had a feel to it. It felt like a filmmaker made the movie and like had a vision.
Marvel
for it.
movies feel really sterile. I think
They
that's
do.
a word for They feel
Everyone feels like the same. It feels like it's shot the same way. It feels like it has the same, the same aesthetic. It feels like the dialogue is like the same. It's just, I get so sick of it. And and again, there are some exceptions. Like I like Guardians of the Galaxy. I thought that was pretty good. And like the first Iron Man, and that might be about it for me. But with a couple exceptions. Have you seen Guardians 2 yet?
No.
I heard some pretty good things.
I'm sure it's good. I mean, I think the Guardians, they kind of like got free reign because it was really loosely tied into the
and that's the thing.
So
that
you
is
can do
almost
what you
like a
want.
separate thing. So they, it does feel a bit more like a movie, but I don't know. I'm just getting really sick of Marvel.
I really feel like they have to run out of steam eventually. And I think what's going to happen is DC is going to be the casualty and not Marvel.
Yeah.
I think people are going to get oversaturated by the superhero market, and DC is going to be the one that takes the brunt of it, not Marvel.
Yeah,
which is really going to piss
It almost
me off.
makes me want to like stick up for DC, not because I'm not crazy about those movies either, but I feel like they're getting all this bad press and terrible reviews, and I think these movies are just as good as what Marvel is putting
That's
out.
what pisses me off so much. Like
In fact, I think the visuals are more, speak more that a director is, in playing
yeah,
his vision
especially
on
like in Batman versus Superman.
Yeah.
But it pisses me off because they get so much shit. It's like at least they're trying to be different. These fucking Marvel movies are so cookie cutter. It's
They
unbelievable.
really are.
I mean,
it feels like you're watching a giant television
it's like
show.
literally a template. Like plug in all your stuff in, and that's it. You got the love interest, you got the hero, you got the villain.
You got the snappy dialogue. You got the
you got the references to all the other movies, and you got a movie. And it's like every single one is so similar.
You gotta stay after the credits and watch that. It's gonna be a setup for another one. Like
that's that's all people care about is that final credits scene.
That's all they care about is watching the final credits scene and seeing how it connects to this. And it's just that's not filmmaking to me. That's not like watching a movie. Like I want to see a movie that has visuals and has, you know, a feel and a tone to it, and like actually is trying to say something,
and the plot
and
of
I
these
actually
movies never matter.
stands on its own as a movie and doesn't, you know, depend on me watching 16 other movies to enjoy it. Like, I mean, I watched or tried to watch Civil War the other day, and like I just like it felt like I couldn't even relate, like because I hadn't seen, you know, I don't watch every one of these that comes out, so it's like, oh wait, what's going on here? Because I haven't seen like the last two Captain Americas, and it just feels like you have to see everything going in. So I'm not excited for any Marvel, but we'll see. So who's helming Justice? Oh, so it's Joss Whedon. That's who.
Well, Zack Snyder was doing it, and now I think it's almost done because I think it comes out this year. I mean, it's got to be almost done if it comes out this year. And I think Joss Whedon is just like finishing it up.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of that choice. Like, and I like Joss Whedon, but I'm not a fan.
They
of that
should have
choice.
just like brought an assistant director in or something to finish it up.
Or
just not Joss Whedon. Just keep him the fuck away from Marvel.
I want to see
DC.
like someone with a real movie, like a real auteur director, like take one of these movies. And
I know.
But and that's the thing, is you can just tell these studio execs are just, they know what their audience wants, and they're just like probably breathing down whoever's directing their neck.
You know that's how it is in Marvel.
Like, look, we got to have this in there. We got to have this in there. Like, it doesn't seem like they have any autonomy at all.
Yeah.
But like, imagine if like Aronofsky or something made like a superhero movie. Like, I would love to see that.
There was Aronofsky was supposed to make a Wolverine movie.
Was he really?
Oh yeah, that was like a very, very close thing to happening multiple times. Yeah. In fact, I think the Wolverine was like originally his film, and then he got knocked off of it. But yeah, I mean, you know, the Fox will do that. They'll bring in like auteur directors to do their stuff.
Well, I think that's why the X-Men movies are probably some of the better ones.
Yeah,
like for sure.
Because they bring in.
Did you see Logan?
Not yet.
I heard really good things. I didn't see
they
it.
bring in good directors. They bring in unique directors. They're not afraid. But you know, Joss Whedon is clearly a yes man to Marvel in a big way.
Yeah, he really is, and I don't know. That's too bad. All right, my number 3 is called The Shape of Water. It's apparently a Guillermo del Toro movie, which actually, I'm not going to lie, I know very little about it. I just know it's about, apparently, like during the Cold War era, like, I guess it tracks, I don't even know if it's US, but there's this group that's like experimenting on this fish man.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's, and Michael Shannon is in it, who I like a lot, so I don't really know, I'm in though.
All right. Yeah, I mean, Del Toro, you know what you're getting. It's usually good.
All right, what's your number 2?
I guess my number 2 is It, which I'm really reluctant to put on the list.
Yeah, I actually want to see that too.
That trailer looked pretty fucking good.
It looks good.
But I mean, I have a feeling it's going to suck. And the hype is killing it for me. But I mean, that trailer looks
looks really good. I got to say, I almost put that on my list at number 5, but I want to see it too. I hope it's good. My number 2 is Blade Runner 2049, because I think it just looks amazing. I mean, we touched on it earlier. That's, you know, in terms of what movie I think is going to be the best movie for the year, from my critical perspective, I think it's probably going to be Blade Runner.
Yeah.
I think that movie just looks phenomenal. Like, I don't even think we really need to say anything else about it.
Yeah,
like,
that's my number 1.
And that's
Blade
your
Runner.
number 1.
I mean, I just watching that trailer, I'm like, this trailer could win awards. Fucking good.
The trailer looks amazing. Like, those visuals, I am on board. Like, Ryan Gosling's in it. Like, you just sign me up now. And my number 1 is Last Jedi.
Of course.
I know. I got to go with it. I'm excited that Luke's back. We'll see. The first trailer, I didn't get much from it, which makes me happy, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, I don't know. But I'm super excited for it. I hope it's great. I love Mark Hamill, so I hope it's good.
I mean, this one, if they fuck this one up, they're fucked.
Yeah,
of course, they could fuck it up and still get amazing reviews because it's Star Wars.
Yeah,
but
see, you didn't like Force Awakens, did you?
A lot of people have turned on Force Awakens recently.
Yeah,
I really didn't like it.
See, I liked it, but again, it's like, I have 2 different reactions to it. When I first got out of the theater, I was like, oh, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I loved it. And then when I really thought about it, like, I still like the movie, but I do have a lot of problems.
That's what happened with the prequels. When people originally saw Phantom Menace, like, oh, it's Star Wars. And then they're like, wait.
I still think it's a lot better than the prequels, personally, because I do remember, I've watched those plenty of times, and I think Force Awakens is substantially better than those, but I will say that I've kind of soured on it since that initial viewing, but I've actually still only seen it twice. I only saw it 2 times in the theaters. I haven't watched it since, so I'd be curious to watch it again now that my fanboy aspect is settled down. But I don't know. I can't even really talk that much about Last Jedi. Like, the trailer doesn't really give. I'm sure you've seen the trailer.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't really give anything away. I guess like Luke's gonna be training.
Didn't he say in the trailer that the Jedi have to die or something?
He did, yeah. Which I don't know what that means, or again, it's like there's a lot of things in this new Star Wars universe where I'm like, man, they better have sufficient answers for these, or it's gonna be really bad. Like who this Snoke guy is, and like
I'm sure they will. I mean,
and I swear if Rey is like Luke's daughter or something, or like there's just so many things that I'm worried about them, traps that I'm worried about them falling into, that I'm scared for this movie, but it's still my number one, because if it hits the way I want it to, it's gonna be I'm going to go bananas.
Yeah.
But I do have some trepidation as to whether it will. So all right, I think it's been a pretty good episode.
Yeah, I think that's
we're back, everybody. So make sure to follow us on all our social media. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. I think we have a Tumblr too.
We might.
We haven't checked.
I think that Sam has written a review on there. You can read.
Yeah, I wrote a review of the Nice Guys. Was that last year? Was Nice Guys? Yeah, that was last year. So check out our Tumblr if you want to read a good review of the Nice Guys. Other than that, we're going to be posting a lot. So follow us on Twitter at serious_critics, or just type in Serious Film Critics. You'll find us.
Maybe.
Hopefully. Look. Just do some looking. We're there. On Facebook, if you just type in Serious Film Critics, you can find us. And don't forget, our email is seriousfilmcritics@gmail.com. Just spelled out, one word, Serious Film Critics. And send us all your questions. We'll take your movie questions, obviously, if you want to talk to us about movie fights or versus matches. Like, we're pretty open to questions. So if you have anything, just send it in.
Also, I think we should go ahead and we should tell you what we're going to be reviewing next time. In case you watch it.
Next episode, because we are going to be very, very current with these now, is going to be Beyond the Gates, which is a Netflix release from late last year. I believe it was in December, and it just came out recently on Netflix. And Spring Breakers by Harmony Korine. So that is going to be an episode you don't want to miss. Some interesting movies to talk about there. So yeah, good to have you guys. We will be we'll be around. So join us next time, and until then, take it easy.